Very warm welcome to the Times Property Expo 2023. The Mega Property Expo was an opportunity for investors, property builders and consumers to interact and understand the best properties available in Bengaluru. Builders showcased some of their best properties during this two-day event. Chief guest K. Gopalaya, Minister of Excise, Government of Karnataka, inaugurated the event by ribbon cutting and lamp lighting in the presence of the dignitaries.
ಒಂದು ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಡಪ್ರಭು ಕೆಂಪೇಗೌಡರು ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಇಷ್ಟರೊಳಗಡೆ ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಇವತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನು ದಾಟಿ ಇನ್ನು 100% ನಾವು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ಹೊರ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಹೊರ ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಒಂದು ಸಲ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿನ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾದ ಬಸವರಾಜ ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿಯವರು ನಿನ್ನೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಗೆ 9,600 ಕೋಟಿಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಹಣವನ್ನು ಘೋಷಣೆಯನ್ನು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರನ್ನ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲೇ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾದ ಸ್ಥಾನಮಾನವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಈಗ ಅನೇಕ ದಿಗ್ಗಜರು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತೇನು ಅನೇಕ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳು ಇವತ್ತು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಗಾ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ಬಸವರಾಜ ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿ ನೇತೃತ್ವದ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ನಾವು ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿದ್ಧವಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾತನ್ನ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ.
The panel discussion themed New Age Living in Greater Bengaluru focused on changing real estate landscape of the city and how the home buying experience can become more consumer friendly and sustainable.
To set the ball rolling, first and foremost, let's talk about what we mean when we say sustainability. And this is by way of opening remarks to all three of you gentlemen, starting with you, Jajit. Both residential and commercial, when we're talking about sustainability, how is the industry moving? What can you point out to us in terms of trends?
Now, when we are talking today about sustainability, eco-friendly living, it's a lot of talks going on around it, how we are implementing it, how we are truly mean it, right? As a layman, as a consumer, as a buyer, or as you and I, as a buyer, would want to see is a very kind of open space, green space, non-polluting surroundings, environment. That is what we aspire to be in where we want to buy a house or where we work, for that matter. And what really kind of with this kind of an approach of living makes a lot of sense in terms of reducing the overall burden of operating cost as well.
We're calling it the new age way of living, and that is really my question to you also, Deependra. What are some of the trends that we're seeing when it comes to this new way of living and the new way of doing business in some sense?
One thing which real estate has always been one of those bigger footprints of carbon in the entire world. We still have 40% of the entire footprint, and the 1995 real estate is very different from 2023 real estate. We have seen that the companies and corporates and individuals are more responsible. When Greta Thunberg was 13 years old when she told us that you need to be more green. So the world has changed a lot, and the Gen Z is much more responsible than millennials when it comes to these things, and of course even the boomers. And I see that going forward, the new age buyers will definitely be more responsible. And you see, the market, a price point is established. In economics, when you have a buyer and a seller coming to a point, so we are ready to sell, but there has to be somebody who can give us the premium for sustainable living. And with this entire new world coming together, saying that it is a responsibility of our own world to save our world and to be more sustainable, I think that the times are good ahead.
Ravi, let me come to you and really ask you to give us your opening comments on trends that we're seeing, new age living, sustainability. What is going on?
For us, all the projects are in the future also. I feel most of the developers looking at more greener side. The development, you talk about residential, commercials, or project like farmland. Look at the project in last 1 year, we have done more than 10,000 plantation. We have already 10,000 plantation mean a lot, which we want to give it to the nature, and that's a future all about.
So we've been talking about the broad trend, but could you give us one or two specific examples that the real estate industry is doing to ensure it is more sustainable, to ensure that sustainability is not just something that you're doing at, say, a top level, at a corporate level, but it's actually seeing a reflection in your projects and on the ground?
Maybe just adding more green space in a society, in a nice development, giving more, or reducing the density per acre as a living, as a residential complex per se, or maybe just putting, say, about solar fittings for the lightings in the common area. And these are the small steps that, as a developer, that across we are taking in terms of giving that kind of adding value to the entire sustainability per se. There are more. I mean, there are more as a developer as well. So we have a lot of opportunities to really reduce the carbon footprint. And going forward tomorrow, I believe that this entire setup will become a norm. That as the way that rainwater harvesting or recycle management, all these things is an important aspect of a residential development. Going forward, how to measure a carbon footprint, how to reduce it, maybe the future that we'll be talking about.
You're saying small steps, Jajit, but these definitely go a long way. And Ravi, I'd like for you to respond to this, but also talk about digital, which is being incorporated perhaps in a small way, but has a huge impact. Industries moving towards paperless, etc. How's the real estate industry benefiting from this use of technology in digital?
Yeah, so I think technology plays a major role. As Judges said, right, we are reducing lots of carbon footprint. We are doing lots of things which is going back to nature, like rainwater harvesting and blah blah. Digital is a very important. Look at, I think most of the developer or real estate industry today moving towards the digital. Even our online bookings, even we don't use the booking forms. We get the bookings online done, reducing the paper. If you look at Aranyaka, we have developed a app where your legal documents are uploaded there. You don't get to those junk of legal documents carrying it and coming to your places. So I think we are moving towards digital, and technology-wise, we are. I think I would agree with the Jajit that most of his development and internal processing of the documentation has become a digital. We don't even talk about sending a papers here and there, and not only that, we look at the project-wise, where you can manage whole project at one app or one mobile or any of the portable device, and that's what is the future we look forward, in India especially.
So on the digital front, I think we are at the cusp of great transitions to happen. We all are coming in the new age of Chat GPT. It's the new word which everybody knows. Times are going to change forever. Real estate is one of those slowing transition people coming from digital world. But housing.com was built by 12 people sitting in an IIT Bombay dorm. That is how it started. And disruption started from there, and people, more and more startups came into that field, and we see now that transactions are changing. Blockchain by itself is a technology which, once it evolves, the transactions, the title deeds will all go online. It will take time because we are slow transitions, compared to other industries. But once it goes online and once it happens, the entire CRM part with the chatbots, it is so human. I'm sure everybody's, at least I am looking at ChatGPT at least 1 hour every day when I go home, because I'm talking to them. And I can see how humane it sounds. So I'm very, very sure that the CRM and the marketing industry is going to be changed forever in some years to come.
As a trend, what has pricing been looking for residential over the past couple of months? And maybe you can give us a short to midterm view as to how you're seeing that panning out.
So if you have seen pre-pandemic and post-pandemic time, how this pricing has kind of impacted the way people buy. Earlier, we used to have, before kind of COVID, about 3 years back or prior to that, we used to have a mix of end users and investors, right? So pricing was controlled and in a way that, okay, fair enough, the end users are, say, about 60-70% of the total game plan. We'll have about 30% of the investors. So pricing used to be a little bit controlled. Now the entire pricing has moved towards the end user part of it. And post-pandemic, what has happened is the entire demand for the end use has become kind of skyrocketed. And I would like to kind of, just brush up what Ravi also said, the need of the house or a need of a home, the 4 walls or the 2 bedrooms or the unit sizes or a society or a community, it has become more evident what is that needed. Hence the requirement of the pricing, it has gone up, and it is going up completely. And touching on the sustenance part of it, if a developer wants to, or a developer as myself would like to kind of ensure, give a fantastic quality product with a use of excellent materials and all the sustainable program in the community, whether it's a residential or a commercial, I think I can bring in the cost a little bit lower and give that value to the end consumer. But pricing will stay to upwards in my view.
Jajit has been speaking about pricing, and Ravi, if you could talk about the demand specifically for farmland, and what has the demand been like? How do you see it perhaps changing? Any percentage figure you can put on that?
So there's 2-3 things, So the first thing, the demand, if you look at, it is growing. After COVID, we find earlier the market was 1 to 2%. Now it is coming in 2 to 3 years, you will find around 8 to 10% of the market will go towards larger houses and larger farms, First thing. Second thing, I must say that the government is doing phenomenal job towards infrastructure, and you will see a land cost going very high. The kind of growth, if you look at the Bangalore and journey of Bangalore, Mysore, I can give you example. A 2-year back or 3-year back, having a land prices at Bangalore Mysore highway was unimaginable. But today, if you look at, after an expressway, it has gone multifold. You can't even assume it. So it's happening everywhere. If you look at the development which is happening in Bangalore, Chennai, 2.5 hours journey, I'm sure after those development, those areas will grow. So I will add on to Jajit, the prices anywhere will go high. First thing. Second thing, the most important thing, input cost has gone high. So end of the day, Bangalore works in a very thin margin, Bangalore developers works in very thin margin, and it has to have impact on it, So these 2 things I just wanted to put on.
Okay. I know we're talking all things positive, but for our audience here today who's perhaps wondering, what is the challenge perhaps of having, say, a farmland property, not just yours, but for the industry?
Yeah, so there's a few things which I wanted to mention. Farmland is a new era, new requirement. Before you buy, you should know the legals, because this doesn't have any regulation at this moment. So legals are very important. The transparency of the legal documents are very important. We believe in that. Third thing, there is some guidelines to buy a farmland. The kind of like you can buy, you cannot sell anything less than 6,000 square feet, or something like that. Or you can build only 10% of the footprints. So these are the very important guidelines which you should know before you buy the land. Every state in the country have a different guidelines towards the farmland. Like Tamil Nadu have a different guidelines, Karnataka have a different, all those areas have a different guidelines. So you should really evaluate before you buy it. And transparency is going to be a key notes in that particular market, because it's a very risky. Even though people want to buy a farmland, they do not know where to buy because of multiple reasons. They do not know who will take care of their farmlands. what will happen after sun, because you cannot, sometimes you don't travel every day, right? So who will manage it? My farmland is going to be there, or somebody else coming and doing a farming there, those are the very, very important thing, and you should really evaluate before go to that level of it, yeah.
In the mid to short term, personally, what is exciting you in the Bengaluru market that you want to leave us with?
Lot many things are exciting. The way things have changed in last couple of years, I would say, the pace, the speed, the way which the real estate sector is moving in. As I mentioned earlier, the affordability, the way the sector is looking at kind of changing, and the need of a home is what is there in the people's mind. And with that need of the home is, I think we'll be able to see a lot of interesting chapters coming in the short term. Yeah.
Let me come to you, Deependra. You were talking earlier about digital and technology, and one of the things you mentioned is about having now all your paperwork which can go online. Measures like having your khata, etc., which is now, it's just become so much easier. How do you think these policies are going to have a positive impact on the Bengaluru real estate market?
So the policy making, and this is a good question, Dick, because the policy making in the country, and again, I think as we had AD and BC, there's a life in pre-RERA and post-RERA. So RERA has transformed everything forever, but we have to understand one thing, that RERA is still in its defining phase. We are still 5 years into it. It still needs a lot of other stakeholders to be incorporated. So while initially there will be a case of chaos and different things will happen here and there, but I think overall in long-term prospect, once all these stakeholders, and by all the stakeholders I mean the brokers, the other stakeholders of the insurers, if all of them come under the ambit, we will have a much more smoother transaction happening. So I think we are still in that transition phase, and RERA is still evolving. I think, and that is a sign of a developing economy. In developing economy, we take our time to set our foot firm. And but policy making side, government is also working wonderfully. They have, the intent is right. We have great things happening, and also to answer that question that where are we going to be? I think India is where the world will come down to. I think this decade belongs to us, hands down, and we've seen it. In spite of a very speculative stock market, it has not really gone down to where the world was thinking it should be. We have a fundamentally very, very stable economy. We are growing, and I firmly believe that down lagana India mein laga do. So India is the place to invest in. As layoffs unfortunately continue in other part of the world, more and more jobs will come here. The IT industry is going to boom up. I think this is the place to be, and the policies are going to be there so that we have a firm foot into development.
So I'll give you the last word, Ravi. Same question that I asked Jajit. What is exciting about the Bengaluru market in the mid to short term?
For us, everything is exciting, because it's every day new locations, very exciting locations, and we are very, especially for me and my team, I think we value what we are delivering it, what products coming up. We are coming with some of very exciting products around Bangalore, maybe a 55, 60 kilometer, not even 45 kilometers, 50 kilometer. We are coming up houses which is eco-sensitive zones, and it's a kind of forest areas, and we are developing lots of beautiful houses in those farms on those areas. We are coming with some of the very luxury villas in a very, very exclusive areas of Chikmagalur and all. So we are looking forward with this market, and we are excited about the client's requirement. We are excited about how they value, and the most important thing for us today, clients are very educated. If you look at the Bangalore market, most of the client, when he visits on any project, it's not only farmland, they do all homeworks. And so more that anything, our most important task is to give a knowledge to them. They have all the information all around. Information could be right and wrong, that's a different. But what we give knowledge to them, that's the most important to take, important thing for them to take a decision based on that. So we are all excited about what projects we are bringing up. Future is pretty bright for us. We are looking ahead with lots of momentum, lots of things coming up in a farmland. Lots of customers are coming with lots of ideas. We are also evolving with lots of ideas because it's a growing market. We also want to give customers some new excitement things which they come with their families and kids too on those places, you know. Yeah.
I'd like to add one more point here is that this exciting thing about Bangalore is that this particular city offers an opportunity to a wide variety of audiences. I mean, if you just, Ravi said, farmlands that touch base with certain audiences, there are various products. I mean, it's not true for all the kind of markets that in the country, all the key 9-10 markets, if I pick it up. You have farmlands, you have plotted, various categories of plotted development. You have different kinds of apartments starting from, say, about 30 lakhs all the way to different sizes and offerings and amenities in per se. We have a mid-segment luxury, we have row houses, we have villas, we have so many things to offer. But at the same time, keep in mind the way Bangalore is expanding and the way the infrastructure is getting developed, the way the things are moving forward. I think we'll be able to offer a lot of things to a lot many people in the near future.
On that very optimistic note, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time here on this panel discussion.